back. Got rear end complete. Thanks to our friend Jerry here. Now it's not going to look like much any different on camera, but instead of 4 11 gears are now installed, and we get a refresh. The only thing that really looked bad were, if you can see, these washers, the actual bolts. Most of those were toast. That's like the only good one holding it on. So I guess new washers on order. And once they're in, we're going to install those, and then it'll be all good to go. No lube, so we'll put some in once we get it back in the car. And then Blake, you were working on fuel system stuff, right?
Correct, yeah. So it's the proverbial 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound box game. So essentially what we've got here is some modified parts that originally were Racetronics. So this has a kind of a dual pump pickup that gets, I think it originally just strapped to the stock modified hanger, but I'm going to drill a couple holes in it and screw it to it, just so that it's got a little bit better, a little more positive retention. But essentially these are going to come up and connect to AN bulkhead 90s. So this thing's been very modified. So if you look here, there were original holes here where it mounted the hanger that drops down. So what I did is I TIG welded those all closed, and I actually TIG welded the hanger to those, and they were originally like I think a drain and a vent tube, but now they're just welded shut. So they're just there to positively affix the hanger now to the center of it. But essentially we have, this here is the return feed. So this is a Dash 8 return. There'll be a Dash 8 line that'll come off of it and hang into the tank to return the fuel. This is a part that was on here before. This is literally just gets filled with epoxy, but that's where the wires are going to run through.
Okay.
That's just the main pump and the sender come through that. And then the Deechworks kit has a bulkhead. This will get sealed with putty as well. But it's got this bulkhead here that their stuff comes through. I've got to extend the wires in the tank. And then I only have one Dash 6 bulkhead right now, but there'll be another Dash 6 bulkhead right there that'll come out, and that is what the feeds from the 2 pumps will come from. So one from the Racetronics, which is a high output Walgrove style, and then one from the Deechworks. Those will come out, these 2 Dash 6s, and then they'll run into a Y block that has 2 Dash 6s in and a Dash 10 out. So, and then it all fits in, and barely, just barely, this all fits around. Let me take that off. So, gotta kind of hold your tongue just right here. There we go. So that's the factory locking ring. So everything does clear the factory locking ring just barely.
Nice.
So, and then there's the gasket that goes underneath it. And everything in here that's OE is still serviceable. So this is a factory pickup, but it can be unscrewed and replaced. So if it fails, all this custom work doesn't need to get replaced. So
nice.
It's still serviceable.
I like it.
So we're waiting on a couple last little pieces for that. Nothing too major. We've had to, as is always the case, we've had to make some adjustments partway through as we figure out what does and doesn't fit. Everything fits great on paper, somewhat less so in real life.
Yeah. Well, and then, it's just some stuff we just got to have patience with. I know when I ordered some of those components like the Y block and stuff, I was trying to find it as quick as I could, and the fastest I could still was, you know, almost a week away. So
Right. Yeah, and unfortunately, when you're doing this kind of stuff with the fittings, you know, you can measure it, but when you're playing with, you know, 1/8 of an inch here and there, sometimes your best measurements aren't as accurate as when you get the parts in front of you.
Yeah.
So, like I said, originally this was going to have these -8s that came out the top, and then we were going to do a 90. So basically, it was going to have a 90 that came off of that. And the problem is, it's just too much height on top of the tank. It would be in the way of the trunk carpet, and you
Yeah.
have to cut a bump in it. And like, I mean, it's doable, but we can do it with -690s, and it'll clear fine.
perfect.
So that's going to be the solution. So little thinking on the feet. Unfortunately, I only had one of those in my inventory, so we'll have to order one other one.
No worries. That's
Not a big deal. They're like $11. So
Yeah,
it's
stuff
not-
happens.
It's not the worst thing. We did get the fuel rail on the intake mocked up as well. So
Nice.
I've got to machine some spacers for that, but
Okay.
it is essentially in place. That is essentially what it'll look like. I think we ordered the last couple fittings we need to finish that out.
Oh, looks like we got my injectors in then, huh?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep, the injectors are in, and everything fits just fine. So
Perfect.
there is enough clearance.
Very
So
good.
It'll
Got
be
some-
snug to put the bolts in the top, but it's comfortable.
Okay.
So,
Perfect. I know we got some miscellaneous other stuff too. I know when we were taking off the rotors and stuff, I'll just zoom in here. Just miscellaneous stuff. You just want good with the car when it's running to not crop up other issues later. But you can see my pad life here is getting pretty thin on the back, so I just got some new hawk pads up front. This one with the HPSs. That's what I had on the front before. I've had good luck with, and I had Blake look at the pad life on the front. I've got big brakes on the front, so good brakes. Probably just turn the rotors just to make sure everything's flat for the new pads. That way I'll have new brakes on. I don't have to worry about stopping performance when we're going fast, and not anything I have to worry about later. But and it looks like we got the clutch in too. So McLeod, the RXT 1200. So it'll be going into the transmission here soon. And then I heard back from the, I guess it's the machine shop is where the engine's at now. They're still running behind like anybody else. I told them I was probably more concerned if they were actually on time and everything was perfect. So, but he still thinks a couple more weeks, and he should have the motor, and then he's got everything ready to go in the motor, and then I'll go and pick it up, and we should have that.
Answer when you ask a machine shop how long, right? It's a couple weeks.
Fortunately, so.
But that's all right. There's still plenty of other stuff to do. Like I said, we got held up a little bit here and there on the fuel system. I was hoping to have that buttoned up this weekend. It'll probably be next weekend.
Okay.
So we'll get it buttoned up then. But there's a couple parts that'll be coming in next week that are already ordered. And like I said, I think the only other part we need to finish the tank side stuff is one more -690.
Okay.
Which is, like I said,
Yeah.
they're pretty common part. And then we'll get that put in. In the meantime, over the next few days, I'm going to try to get the, assuming martial arts schedule allows it, I'm going to try to get the brackets in for the fuel pulse width modulated brushless controller. There we go.
Okay.
I'm going to try to get the parts in for the parts mounted for the brushless controller and the high voltage output and the battery fuse setup. That's in, but it's in the trunk, which is currently floating. Which makes it a little harder to reach. But we'll get all that put in so that when the last parts for that come in, we can go ahead and mount it and get that finalized.
Sweet.
So,
Sounds
that'll
good.
give time for that, all the sealants and stuff on that to set properly. So
I like it.
So
what's in store for us today?
good question. I don't know that there's a lot on the docket for today.
Okay.
Just because I wanted to get the fuel system in. Like, I don't want to put the rear end in.
Sure, that's fine.
Because I need to reach this spot, and there's an axle there
Yes.
most of the time. So our little bit of delay, unfortunately, is probably going to preclude the majority of our original plans for today.
Well, that's okay. That's sometimes just how it goes.
So.
Yeah, we'll see the difference here between old rotors and, I'm sorry, old pads and new pads.
Yeah, so if we look at the difference,
yeah, it's
about 50%. That's about what I thought it looked like. It's about 50. It's all the that angle, that transition angle is gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, we'll get some new ones on there. That'll help things out.
Yeah, it certainly won't hurt any.
Get these guys turned. I think in the future,
more.
in the future when I can, I was talking to Blake when we were doing the time lapse, but for the rears, I've still got just the factory calipers. I'll probably step up the calipers a little bit in the rear, maybe just a 4-piston instead of a giant blinging 6-piston. Just something to help increase stopping force a little bit. But when I do, for those that are watching, believe it or not, cross-drilled rotors don't actually do anything for stopping. They look really cool, and I don't think I have any in here yet. Nope, we're still good. But eventually these cross-drilled will crack, which just sucks. So I think and they don't do anything for stopping fire, it just looks nice. So I think next time I'm just gonna do a set of slotted all the way around.
Yeah, the slotteds have some minor benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Pad cleaning and theoretically outgassing. Realistically, if you're driving your car on pads not from the 1970s, it doesn't really do much. But,
right.
But the slotting has some minor benefits.
Nothing huge, but yeah.
Plus, it has the benefit of the vendor can charge you more.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're not blanks. Here,
so.
Spend more money.
That's right.
The following day.
Sure.
So on to the gauges. Because factory Camaro only does 7,000 RPM, and no one wants an exterior tack, at least I don't, on their car. They got custom gauges from Speedhut, and now I'm gonna take them to a company that will mold / fabricate. I don't know if they're doing molded plastic vacuumed or if they're doing fiberglass or what, but basically put all these gauges into said apparatus.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Well, I've arrived at Kimmel Fabrication here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. They're going to be doing the fiberglass work to the dash of the Camaro. Got all those really awesome Speedhut gauges, and the goal is to try and do something to make them really look nice. I've seen a few pictures online that people are really just slapping gauges on like a flat plate in the back of their F-body. I don't know. I could have done that. You know, with how nice the rest of the car is, I just wanted to do something a little extra nice. So I'm going to have these guys fabricate everything to kind of do a molding around everything, make it look a little bit nicer. Let's go ahead and talk to them. Okay, inside, talking to Roger here.
What's up? How's it going?
Kimmel Fabrication here in Fort Wayne. We've got all the gauges all set up here, and kind of talked to him briefly about what I like done to the Camaro. Roger, what all do you guys do here?
We do a little bit of everything. We do metal fab, carbon fiber, fiberglass, pretty much anything and everything. As you can see, we got some boats going on in here. We got a couple of cars going on in here. Pretty much, if you can think of it, we can do it. So we like to have fun and build stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I see you've got a looks like an old bomb or something.
Yeah, it's actually an old carnival ride, like kids carnival ride.
Oh, cool.
It's getting turned into like a liquor cabinet, basically. So it'll have a couple of shelves in there. You can, put bottles, whatever, in there, and kind of sit in the corner of the house. So
that's awesome.
We like to turn antiques into newer stuff too. We got a couple of things we're turning in, like Bluetooth speakers, so people can have them sitting in their house and stuff, and just turn antiques into newer looking stuff, kind of.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the time today to talk to you about putting together the gauge cluster stuff for my Camaro.
Yeah, no problem.
So you got a pretty awesome Audi here. Is this the owners, you said, Sam's?
Yep, that's Sam's Audi there. It's been a project there for a while. Doing a full wide body kit. It's on air ride suspension. Should be pretty nasty when it's done. So
that's awesome.
Probably be another couple of years, but it's there. It's getting there.
Well, everything takes time, as we all know. I've been working on mine for over a year now, right, it seems. Yeah. And then this is your Miata?
Yep, that's my Miata. Kind of doing the same thing, just not as crazy. kind of built it for track use, but kind of want to do a little bit of show too, so just messing around with that as well, making it a little bit wider, lowering it a little bit, and doing some engine work to it. So
Well, Roger, thanks again for talking to us today, and
No problem.
look forward to seeing the end product.
yeah, not a problem.